Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are going to react to Vatican City Explained. So, I don't know too much about the Vatican City besides this is uh, I guess you would say city-state within Rome, within Italy, where the Pope resides. This is its own governance. I'm not too familiar with, the origin story of the Vatican City. Although I'd have to say that this probably is one of the original areas where the papal states used to be. Besides that, I'm just looking to learn, and I hope you're looking to learn too. If you're new here and you like types of stuff like history, culture, sciences, I implore you to hit the subscribe button as we watch pretty much whatever comes across my feed. So let's jump into it. Lego.
City, capital of the Catholic Church. Vatican City, capital of the Catholic Church, home to the Pope, owner of impressive collections of art and history, all contained within the borders of the world's smallest country, conveniently circumnavigatable on foot in only 40 minutes.
That's like a neighborhood walk.
Just how did the world end up with this tiny nation? The short answer is because Mussolini, and the long answer is fiendishly complicated, so here's a simplified medium version. The popes used to rule a country called the Papal States that covered much of modern-day Italy. It was during this 1,000-plus-year reign that the popes constructed
such a long ruling, if you think about it.
St. Peter's Basilica, the largest church in the world, and also built a wall around the base of a hill known as Vatican upon
Okay, so Vatican Hill. That's how it works.
On which St. Peter's stood. But the Kingdom of Italy next door thought Rome would make an awesome capital for their country and so conquered the Papal States. His nation destroyed, the Pope hid behind the walls of Vatican and conflictingly refused to acknowledge that the Kingdom of Italy existed while simultaneously complaining about being a prisoner of the Kingdom of Italy, which, according to him,
wow. They could have laid siege. I wonder what that would have been crazy.
Didn't exist. Rather than risk religious civil war by getting rid of the Pope, the Kingdom of Italy decided to wait him out, assuming he'd eventually give up. But religion is nothing if not obstinate, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 popes, and 60 years later, nothing had changed. Which now brings us to Benito Mussolini, the then Prime Minister of Italy, who was tired of listening to the Pope complain to Italian Catholics about his self-imposed imprisonment, so Mussolini thought he could score some political points by striking a deal which looked like this. 1. Italy gave the land of Vatican to the Pope, and 2. Italy gave the Pope a bunch of apology.
So Mussolini acknowledges Vatican's autonomy, and is that how it happens? And Vatican's an autonomous region, not really subsidized under Rome, not Rome, Italy. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Money. In return, the Pope acknowledged that Italy existed, and 2, the Pope promised to remain neutral in politics and wars, on the off chance that, Mussolini thought this might be a thing. The deal was signed, and a new country, Vatican City, was born, and today the tiny nation on a hill has all the things you'd expect of a country: its own government that makes its own laws that are enforced by its own police who put
I did not know that.
people who break them.
Maybe it makes so much sense,
It also
though.
has its own bank and prints its own stamps and issues its own license.
All right, dude, I need a stamp from the Vatican City now, just to have.
Plates, though only its citizens can drive within its borders, presumably because of the terrible, terrible parking. And as the true mark of any self-respecting nation, it has its own top-level domain,
Awesome.
.va. But despite all these national trappings, Vatican City is really not like any other country. Hold on to your fancy hat because it's about to get weird. To understand the Vatican, there are 2 people and 2 things you need to know about: the famous Pope, the incredibly confusing Holy See, the country of Vatican
Holy See is a throne.
City, and along with that, the almost completely unknown King of Vatican City. But
I didn't know there was a king.
first, the Pope, who gets a throne to sit upon and from which he acts as the bishop for all the Catholics in Rome. Actually, all bishops in the Catholic Church get their own thrones, but because the Bishop of Rome is also the Pope, his throne is special and has its own special name: the Holy See. Every time a Pope dies or retires, there is a sort of game of
There's almost like a never mind.
thrones to see which of the bishops will next get to occupy the Holy See. So while popes come and go, the throne is eternal, and as such, the name the Holy See not only refers to the throne, but also all the rules that make the Catholic Church the Catholic Church. When Mussolini crafted that aforementioned deal, technically he gave the land of Vatican City to the Holy See, which, believe it or not, is a legal corporate person in international law. Basically, every time you hear the words the Holy See, think Catholic Church Incorporated, of which the Pope is the CEO.
That's interesting.
Now, back to the king. The King of Vatican City has absolute unchecked power within the country's borders, and his presence
A total monarchy?
makes Vatican City one of only 6 remaining absolute monarchies
Absolute monarchy.
in the world, including Brunei, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Swaziland.
One is not like the other, though.
The king's absolute power is why Vatican City can't join the European Union, because only democracies are allowed. Though Vatican City does, strictly speaking,
But I don't think they would join either way. They're not really trying to be political, are they?
have a legislative branch of government staffed by cardinals appointed by the Pope. The King of Vatican City can overrule their decisions at any time for any reason. So why do you never hear about the King of Vatican City? Because though King and Pope are 2 different roles, they just happen to be occupied by the same person at the same time, which has the funny consequence that because the Pope is elected and the King is
What the
powerful,
heck?
but they're the same guy, it makes Vatican City the world's only elected, non-hereditary absolute monarchy. It's this dual role that makes untangling Vatican City so difficult, because the Pope, depending on the situation, acts either as the king
So we got a double personalities here.
of the country
Dual
of Vatican
personalities.
City or the Pope of the Holy See. Got it? No?
No.
Okay, here's an analogy. Imagine if a powerful international company, say Grey Industries, had a CEO who convinced the United States to give one of its islands to the company, which then made the island into a new country, Greytropolis, with an absolute monarchy as its government, and the law that the king of Greytropolis is by definition the CEO of Grey Industries. It's pretty obvious at this point that the CEO should move his corporate headquarters to the new nation so that the laws of the country can benefit the company and the company's global reach can benefit the country. As for the man in the middle, sometimes it's good to be the CEO and sometimes it's good to be the king. That is essentially Vatican City. But if you're still confused, don't worry, even other countries can't keep it straight. For example, the United Nations has the Holy See, the corporation, as a member, but not Vatican City, the actual country. And the Holy See gives passports to Vatican City citizens that other countries accept, even though those passports come from a company, not a country.
That's so weird.
And speaking of Vatican City citizens, they are perhaps the strangest consequence of the Pope's dual role as religious leader and monarch. While other countries mint new citizens with the ever-popular process of human reproduction, Vatican City does not. No one in Vatican City is born a citizen, and that's
so weird.
not just because within a rounding error there are no female Vaticans. The only way to become a citizen is for the King of Vatican City to appoint you as one, and the King only appoints you a citizen if you work for the Pope, who is also the King. And because the King is all-powerful, your citizenship is at his whim. If you quit your job for the Pope, the King, who is also the Pope, will revoke your citizenship. These rules mean that Vatican City doesn't have a real permanent population to
No.
speak of. There are about
No
500 full
families.
citizens, which is fewer people than live in single skyscrapers in many countries. And all these citizens work for the Holy See as either cardinals or diplomats or the Pope's bodyguards or other Catholic-related jobs. So it's best to think of Vatican City as a kind of sovereign corporate headquarters that grants temporary
Yeah, this is just like a building.
citizenship to its managers rather than as a real city-state like Singapore, which has a self-reproducing population of citizens engaged in a variety of economic activities,
Or
both
Monaco.
of which Vatican City lacks. But in the end, the reason the world cares about Vatican City is not because of the citizens within its walls, but because of the billion members of its church outside of those walls.
Super interesting, but I did not know that there were like 0 families in. That's such an interesting thing. I just didn't even think about. It's just basically the church, and that's it. I didn't know it was just the church. I thought, okay, it could, it could be like Washington D.C., where there might be some things going on here, and no. Wow, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? Let me know below. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bye bye.